Awake! Awake! Put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger who announces peace, who brings good news, who announces salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Listen, your sentinels lift up their voices. Together they sing for joy, for in plain sight they see the return of the Lord to Zion. Break forth together in singing, you ruins of Jerusalem, for the Lord has comforted his people, has redeemed his people. The Lord has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Thus ends the reading of the word. Thanks be to God. On what might have been termed the first Christmas, there were no crowds cheering in the streets for the birth of the Messiah. That's okay, Neil will edit this part out. Can I start that line again? Yes. On what might have been termed for the first Christmas, there were no crowds cheering in the streets for the birth of the Messiah. Now, I'm not one to put a damper on things, and that's not really my intention. But you are here this morning because you understand that Christmas is more than counting down the shopping days you have left. You understand that Christmas is more than the frenzied to-do over an hour of Santa Claus gift opening on Christmas morning. But Isaiah's invitation to awake to a new day, to the good news brought by the messenger, is our invitation this morning. Because and since the birth of Jesus, this call to awaken to a new day is the opportunity of every day, of every new morning. We are to greet it as an opportunity to begin again. There is, in my opinion, no one who gets the message of Christmas morning better than Charles Dickens. In 1843, a time in England's history when people suffered great disparity in wealth and class, when the orphanages and the poorhouses and the debtors' prisons were filled to the brim with the poor and indebted people of that society, the interest slaves of that century, Charles Dickens wrote about a kind of indifference. Some might call it fear, but it was a feeling that kept the haves unsympathetic to the plight of the have-nots. The man called Ebenezer Scrooge is heard these 168 years later loud and clear every Christmas, saying to his nephew, "What's Christmas time to you? But a time for paying bills without money and for finding yourself a year older and not a penny richer. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should." Ebenezer Scrooge, the epitomic representative of the indifferent class, is not just a singular individual of miserly nature. He is a moneylender. And he represents a group of people who have come to see themselves as entitled by birth, better than the uneducated and impoverished classes with which the country seems to be overrun. In the story, In the very wee hours of Christmas morning, beginning at 1 a.m., Scrooge has taken on 3 journeys. The journey into his past reveals to him who he once was and what he lost when he chose the security of money over love. The second journey is into his present, to show him how the rest of the world sees him. In spite of his embittered and unpleasant bah humbug nature, he is wished well by his nephew, and even by the employee Bob Cratchit, whom he treats so cruelly. The third journey is into his future, where he sees what happens as a result of his indifference. In the movie musical, Scrooge, there is a wonderful dance scene where the entire neighborhood is joyously singing, "Thank you very much, thank you very much, that's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me." In his future dream, Scrooge is nonplussed that the people are thanking him for doing something marvelous. What he misses is, as he's rejoicing and witnessing the scene, is that they are dancing on his coffin, celebrating his death. The nicest thing indeed that he has done for any of them is to die. They are no longer enslaved to him. They no longer owe him money with interest. As the ghost of Christmas future, silent and ominous, leads Scrooge to the graveyard where he sees 2 graves, Tiny Tim's and his own. He pledges to the ghost, "I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirit of all 3 shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me," as he points to that stone marking his grave, "oh, tell me, I may sponge away the writing on this stone." I wonder how many of us identify with the crusty old man, Scrooge. We certainly don't go around telling our employees that we resent their taking a day off for Christmas and getting paid for it to boot, and as if they're stealing money out of our pockets. We don't go around threatening little old ladies with the poorhouse if they don't pay their debt by next week, and thinking we are generous giving them that much time. Charles Dickens allows Scrooge to be the foil, the one upon whom we can heap all of our disdain, and then breathe a sigh of relief as we say to ourselves, "Thank God I'm not anything like that guy." Dickens' story focuses attention on the bah humbug Scrooge versus the merrymakers of Christmas, and perhaps harkens back yet another 150 years to 1653, when Oliver Cromwell signed King Charles I's death warrant and took over the rule of England, in much the same way the Roman emperors did with the help of the Praetorian Guard. Cromwell was a Puritan and believed that everyone else in England should follow his example. He promptly banned Christmas in England as a time when people celebrated and made merry. Christmas had become a day of celebration since the Civil War, but to Cromwell, Christmas was to be a holy day. Pointless enjoyment was frowned upon by such persons as Cromwell, and certainly he believed it was frowned upon by God. Hard work would be rewarded. Hard work was one's ticket into heaven. Cromwell took it upon himself to shut down theaters and inns, and he even banned sports. Boys caught playing football on a Sunday could be whipped as a punishment. Swearing was punished by a fine, and those who kept swearing could be put in prison. Sunday became a very special day under that Cromwellian rule. Most forms of work were banned on Sunday, and women caught doing unnecessary work on the holy day could be put in the stocks. Simply going for a Sunday walk, unless it was to church, could lead to a hefty fine. Women were to dress in black, colorless frocks, covered from head to toe. I don't think they had to put anything over their face. And were banned from wearing makeup. Puritan leaders and soldiers roamed the streets of towns and scrubbed off any makeup on unsuspecting women. The fashion police of former days. 2 colorful dresses were banned to keep the population's mind on religion instead of having feast days to celebrate the saints. As was proper in the Anglican tradition, 1 day in every month was a fast day. And on that day, one did not eat at all. If anyone dared to celebrate Christmas in London, soldiers were ordered to go around the streets and take by force, if necessary, food being cooked for the celebration. The smell of a goose being cooked could bring trouble. Such traditional Christmas decorations as holly were even banned. Dickens' Scrooge, not a religious man, but certainly Cromwell-esque in his disdain of people seeking to celebrate even meager means with meager means, is given a chance to awaken to a new day, wearing a new, beautiful self, with a new outlook on life. He has, in one single night, wrestled with his poor choices as a young man, to wrestle with his present-day crustiness and loneliness, and the possibilities left to him from this moment on. When he awakens, when he awakens, he is grateful for the chance to begin again. I'm alive! I've got a chance to change, and I will not be the man I was. I'll begin again. I will build my life. I will live to know that death of Jesus offers us the chance to begin again with each new morning. Awake! Awake! Put on your strength. Put on your beautiful garments. Let the lessons of your past and your present and your future strive within you, teaching their lessons, and try yet again to make today a better day than yesterday.